Good morning, everybody. Jim Palmer, the Dream Business Coach here. It is bright and sunny out for once. It has been very cold and rainy a few days here, but it's nothing like the rest of the country's not going through with, I don't know what they call it, Snowmageddon or bomb of snow or something. But good morning, Peg. It is very cold up here, and I thought maybe I should just, maybe I'll just do Jonathan McCulloch. Holy crap. Jonathan McCulloch is, God, somebody that I've known for most of my life. I met Jonathan when I was 15 when I moved to Duxbury High School. How you doing, buddy? But I'm down here in Jacksonville. There's Schnitzius. Hey, buddy. Man, we're going to have a good crowd today. So, I teased this. I teased this a little while ago. I woke up this morning. I don't know about you, but sometimes I wake and I've just got this very clear and present thought on my mind, and I thought, I don't want to do that. Did you ever get that? You get, I guess God's Spirit places it on your heart and said, Jim, you got to share this, because this is like the time when everybody's talking about happy talk and adversity, or not adversity, but happy talk and New Year's resolutions. This is going to be great. We're going to blast through. Oh my God. And it's just, there's a lot of happy talk. And morning, buddy. Hey, David Brown. And I woke this morning, I just felt the Spirit telling me it's not all good. It's not meant to all be good. And what I really felt was God saying, morning, Dawn, God said, Jim, what I put you through was meant to be shared. So this is my own little internal battle. Yeah, I've shared it. I've wrote about it in books. I talk about it when I'm speaking. I do it at Dream Business Academy and things like that. He goes, nah, your Facebook Live is like something you're doing right now, so go do that. And I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't want to be a downer. Everybody wants to be the positive champion for good or whatever. So anyway, as I said, Facebook, by the way, I have no timetable. My first call's not till 9:30, so I could ramble for a long time, and it may just be rambling, so I'm just going to dump what's on my heart and hope that it helps somebody, because that's what I was told to do. Is that fair? I can see a lot of people jumping on, but that sun, even with my glasses, I'm having a hard time. So if I don't say hello, I'll just, Rick and John, I see. Good for you. So like I say, social media is filled with a lot of positive quotes, forward thinking, New Year's resolutions, people going to make the most, the best. It's going to be the best year ever. Yay, yay me, yay team, all that stuff. But there is something about when you go through hard times and hard challenges, to the degree that you can rise above those challenges and learn from them, they will actually make you not only a better person, but in my case, I believe a better entrepreneur. Adversities and challenges that suck, well, they do suck when you're going through them. But from my own experience, I actually believe everything I went through and what I call my season of crises and everything else has not only made me a better person, but it's made me a better entrepreneur, and I know for a fact it's made me a better coach. So let me just share a little bit, because maybe you're jumping on and don't know those stories. Phil, good morning, buddy. Phil, I was actually thinking of you this morning when I was thinking whether or not I should share this, because everybody and my good friend Phil's certainly gone through some adversity. So I hope this helps you, buddy. When I lost my job in 2001, I was on a kind of a nice career track. I was VP of marketing for this training company. I lost my job, and I was very full of myself. I had a lot of confidence and self-esteem, and I thought, I'll be fielding multiple lucrative job offers in a matter of days, if not weeks. Honey, don't worry about it. In a month, I'll be working again, and we'll be rolling and blah, blah, blah. Well, that wasn't the plan, because I went through almost a year and a half of unemployment. The little money that we had in savings was gone, and we started racking up serious debt. And along with that, my confidence and my self-esteem, which were both, and my healthy ego at the time, were both pretty much crushed, because here I pretty much turned into, my goal being a VP by the time I was 40, I turned into, in my own words, an unemployed loser. I watched all my neighbors go off to work every day, and I could not find a job to save my life. And a year into the unemployment, I was diagnosed with cancer. And there was a period of time for about 3 weeks prior to my surgery where I didn't know if I had stage 2 or stage 3. And the difference, and this will all come full circle, but the difference is between stage 2 and stage 3 cancer is as the doctor said, very straight face, right to me, said, well, your average life expectancy, if it's stage 2, is 80%, 80-20. And I immediately thought to myself, well, if you're going to have cancer, 80% survival rate past 5 years is pretty good. I'll take that. And I go, Doc, what if it's stage 3? He goes, it's 50-50. And he kind of said it like that. And it just, of course, when you hear 50-50, you think, what if it's that 50, right? So I'll circle back to that. But that was certainly a big challenge. After I got through that, I started my first business in October 2001. And instantly I went from being an unemployed loser to the founder of my own corporation. I am the founder, president, CEO, high on the hill, King Tut of dynamic communication. That was my first business. And I was suddenly riding high, bouncing my step until I couldn't get a new customer. I couldn't get my first customer. I went an entire year with what I call revenue free. Yeah, I created a business which had a nice glossy business card. I actually bought a nice desk and a chair which went in the corner of our dining room, and but my business had zero revenue, and no matter how hard I tried, and I was knocking on doors, cold calling, visiting, I was going to Chamber of Commerce meetings and things like that. I was doing everything, and for a full year I was big goose egg in the sales department. And so one of the things I did, and as I look back on it, I think this was God's way of knocking me down a peg. I started taking part-time jobs because I needed to bring money in. I mean, I had 4 teenagers at home, and you know, teenagers have this affinity for something called food, right? So I needed to put food on the table, and I did all kinds of jobs. One of them I'll share with you just to talk about the adversity part. I became a courier, an on-demand courier. So one of the gigs I had was for this local pharmaceutical company which was doing heart research, and I had to go every morning at 5 o'clock and go up to Hatfield where they make bacon and hams and stuff, and I literally had to go into the slaughterhouse, and I would take these fresh pig hearts, put them in a cooler, and take them to this lab, which was about an hour away, and I did that 5 days a week, and I think I brought home a total of $150 for my efforts. But that was pretty gross. It was incredibly disgusting in there, but that was something that was certainly a hardship. And as my business started to grow, I'll keep the story somewhat short. So at about the 5-year mark, I had grown it to multiple 6 figures. So I was very proud of myself. We were starting to make some money and starting to pay down what had amassed to about $60,000 or $70,000 worth of credit card debt. So I got that big old monkey weighing on my back, and because I didn't like that, and but I had plateaued, and that was a transition point for me. In year 6 is when I discovered internet marketing, and I thought, I've really got to learn about this, because I didn't know much about internet other than email and other things. And so I started investing, and I started buying courses, and I started going to events, which brought up another challenge, because I was really from the time I was a kid, I was a pretty shy person. There I am being an entrepreneur, but I was somehow getting through that. And when I started going to these events, I don't know if you've ever gone to some of these events, whether it's 100 people or 1,000 people, and you walk into the main hall, and you would swear that all 999 people knew each other, and they were yakking and chuckling and high-fiving each other, and you're the only one that they don't know. Did you ever feel that? Talk about self-esteem and confidence issues. But somehow I knew I needed to absorb the information. I knew I needed to network and meet other people. So I started going more and more to those events, which I hated. In the course of going to these events, in the course of marketing and learning about internet marketing, and I started investing with mentors and people who were really smart in that area. Over the course of the next, 3 to 4 years, I doubled our debt from $60,000 to $120,000. Now, here I am, man. I'm feeling semi-good on one side because I'm growing a business. I'm doing what I need to do, but by the same token, I just keep going further and further into debt with the family, and it really, really was weighing heavy on my mind. I learned from some really smart people, and I also started applying what I was learning, and what started happening was I started growing, and I got my first internet business, No Hassle Newsletters, my big one today. I then started growing multiple internet businesses. It just seemed to come natural, and obviously with the training and coaching I was getting, and I started No Hassle Social Media, Concierge Print and Mail on Demand, Success Advantage Publishing, Custom Article Generator, and I had 2 or 3 others that were just kind of hit or miss. I did something with Pinterest and a couple others, but I had multiple businesses. And then around 2009, some people started asking me as I'm going to these events, how are you doing all that? And I thought it was my first foray into coaching. And so one of the things that changed for me, I think, at that turning point, which I kind of wanted to share, good morning, Dave, was that very, very much preceding by several years, my book, my 7th book by the title, Just Say Yes, I started figuring out a way to just say yes as I saw these opportunities. In other words, if I saw that there was a mastermind that I wanted to be part of, it was $400 a month, and I didn't have the cash flow, and I just said yes because I knew that was the right thing to do. And you know, I invested, I can't tell you how many courses I invested in, $2,000 courses, going to these events, which was either $1,000, $5,000, depending. And my first time exhibiting at a conference, it was $7,500 I didn't have. Ka-ching, I had to roll that one too. But I started learning to say yes because I just knew instinctively I was on the right track, and I wasn't going to just wait. I wasn't going to say, let me pay down all this debt and then I'll start over, or then maybe my business will grow. I knew because someone very smart told me, Jim, you can't save your way out of debt. You have to grow your way out of debt. And he said, what happens if you would add like another 150,000 revenue, either grow one of your businesses, start another one, but if you would add another 150 revenue to the pot, he said, you'd be debt free in a year, right? I said, absolutely. And that was a transition point for me. Throughout my life, though, I've been very impatient. And one thing I've learned about adversity is you don't control the timetable. You don't control what's happening in your life and things like that. That's part of my own faith. One of the things that some of the lessons, so now I feel like I'm starting to jump around a bit, but hopefully it'll all come full circle. At the very least, I'm doing what I was called to do this morning, and I wanted to share, because there is the good, the bad, and the ugly of being an entrepreneur. There's the good, which when it works, and when it's bad, it's horrible. You feel bad about yourself, and when it's ugly, you're going through challenges. That's all part of the deal. So that's really what I wanted to share with you. As far as the timetable, some of the things that that I've learned going through my challenges has absolutely made me a better coach today. You know, one of the things I learned from going through cancer is that, you know, life is short, and very often it will be shorter than you think it is. Life is also unpredictable, and you really don't know what's coming. I jotted a couple notes here because I knew there was so much I wanted to share with you. So if it looks like I'm looking at my paper, I am. But anyway, life is short. It can be completely unpredictable. But if you have faith and if you have trust that what you're doing is right, and really you literally need to get up every day as an entrepreneur and go at this hardcore. Because it is super, super easy to start a business. Today, you don't have to rent an office. You can have an old Dell computer. You can get some business cards from not Constant Contact, but Vistaprint. You know what? And now you're suddenly in business, right? So it's very, very easy to become an entrepreneur. And the reason it's easy is there's very little risk. There's very little financial investment you have to make to become an entrepreneur and call yourself an entrepreneur. What's really difficult is being an entrepreneur who has a business that actually produces revenue, first of all, that might someday replace the income that you have at your job. But what's really, really hard is taking that income and quadrupling it or 10xing it and having a multiple 6-figure business that absolutely lets you live life on your terms. That, my friends, is reserved for the people who are willing to go for that ride, that willing to do the hard work. You know, nothing comes without sacrifice and hard work and patience, which is something I am not able to preach on because Stephanie says I got the patience of a gnat. But, you know, when you achieve something really big, when you grow a business, which doesn't happen overnight, I mean, you have a right to be proud. You have a right because so many people do not do that. They'll just keep putting themselves out there as an entrepreneur and going to chamber meetings and things like that. But in reality, and this is just statistically true, most of them just barely eke out a living because they can't cross that threshold from being an entrepreneur and doing okay and doing what I think I need to do, doing certainly what's inside my comfort zone, but not willing to do the rest. You know what else? I really believe it is supposed to be difficult, much to the chagrin of people, and myself included, who wanted it to happen fast. And what people sometimes ask me, Jim, in your first year where you were revenue free for an entire year, how'd you get through that? And how I got through that was two thoughts. Number one, I knew in my heart and my mind and my soul and every fiber of my being that I was going to be successful. Everything that I'd done in my career and the choices and decisions I made up to that point meant that I was supposed to be an entrepreneur. The second thing which kept me going, and it was not easy, trust me, I had some serious talks with myself. My inner voice was going nuts up there. But what kept me going through the hard times was the word ridiculous. When I really felt like quitting, when I really wondered if I'm ever going to get a client, let alone 2, 3, 4, or 100, I kept saying, how ridiculous would it be if I quit now? I've just put 2 months or 6 months or 12. I put 11 months into this business. I'm just about to turn the corner. How utterly ridiculous would it be for me to quit now? And so that was really a big learning lesson. The other thing about being an entrepreneur is I think in the end, I think if an entrepreneur, first of all, if you could earn a living, support your family, support your lifestyle, if you can build a business that's really gives you financial freedom, and I say financial freedom is when you pay all your debt, when you become debt free and just live life on your terms. Financial freedom is wonderful because it then lets you have time freedom. You can do and you can make choices because you have the financial freedom to do so. That doesn't have to be your goal, but it's a lot of people's goal. Low flying geese there. And so that is something that a lot of people strive for. And I think there's a point where magic can happen for an entrepreneur, and it happens for different people different ways. But for me, I'll tell you what happened for me. Pardon me. It's real cold up here. I should have stayed where it's warm, but I thought, I'm not going to be in the warmth for adversity. I'll go up where it's cold. You know, for me, I learned something in my book Decide. I shared a lot of the fears that I had, a lot of the demons that I had to like slay that were holding me back in my business, and probably the last hurdle, the last demon that I had to really crush and kick to the curb was doing my own live events. And so, you know, when you're a coach, pardon me, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. When you're a coach, one of the greatest things you can do is a live event, because that lets people come and learn from you over whether it's a 1-day or a 3-day event or something, and they really get to know you a lot faster than they can just following you on email or social media or Facebook Live or something like that. And here's my stone cold honestness. I was deathly afraid of doing my own live events. All right, I was deathly afraid for a couple reasons. I'll lay it all out right here for you, because maybe you're afraid to do something like that. If I do my own live event, you've got to rent a hotel room, and usually at these hotels, the hotel wants you to guarantee a certain number of room nights, and you sign a contract that says if you don't rent like 30 rooms or 20 rooms or 10 rooms or 100, whatever it is, you're responsible for whether those rooms get rented or not. So if nobody comes to your event, like if you suddenly found out that, wow, I don't have a following, nobody's coming to my event, you're on the hook for a hell of a lot of money, right? And then there's the cost of putting it on, there's the cost of flying your team in there, and then the hotels and all the other things. Now, let's say you get over the financial hurdle and you sign the papers, you're off to the races. What happens if you find out you do have some popularity and people are following you, people do want to learn from you, and they come to your event? My first event that I went to, I held was in Las Vegas. And I can tell you, I rented a small room. I wanted to have 30 people there, and we had 30 people there. That was my first goal, was if I can get 30 people in a room, that'll be pretty big. And we did that, and I've done 7 more since that. I think I've done a total of 8 Dream Business Academies, and we've grown nicely. But getting back to my second fear was, what happens if I do sign and we do fill the rooms? I'm not on the hook for paying all those sleeping rooms. The people who come to the event pay that themselves. What happens if I'm introduced and I freeze? Oh, my heart like just sinks into my stomach. I got a lump in my throat. I can't remember anything about what I'm supposed to teach for 3 days. I'm humming. You know, what happens? So that's a fear that a lot of people have. But you know what? It didn't happen. Somewhere on the second day of Dream Business Academy, Las Vegas, my first event, I taught something, and it was called Success, Money, and Mindset. And I shared a little bit more of what I'm sharing with you now about the debt and things that I had and what I did to overcome it. And I looked out, and there were two people with tears in their eyes. And when we went on a break, one person came up to me and said, "Thank you," kind of gave me a man hug and said, "I am where you are right now. Where you were, I'm there right now. And you just gave me what I need to keep on keeping on and push through." And that really, honest to God, hit me like a ton of bricks. And for the next day and a half, I just sailed through and taught. It was great. Standing ovation, which I guess was spontaneous. But, I mean, it felt so amazing to do that. But there's something else. When I was flying home, I felt Spirit say, "This is what you're meant to do." You're right. You can do your emails, you can do your blogs, you can do your newsletter guru TV videos at the time. You can write books as you're starting to do. But when you do these live events, you are touching lives and you're connecting with people. And so that's why I kept doing it, and that's why I keep doing it. And but I had to blast through that incredible challenge, the mental challenge, the financial challenge, the hurdle, everything about that has brought me to full circle. And so I told you I'd come to full circle with the cancer, the unemployment, and blasting through my fears. So when I did the Dream Business Academy in Vegas, I started stepping up, and I made a decision, which was about 5 years ago, that I'm going to put my internet businesses on autopilot. So I hired even more staff. I've got a team of about 13 people that help me run the internet companies. And so all I do is I focus on coaching. I just wanted to be a coach. I wanted to be a coach full time. And as I started coaching, I started realizing with some of my clients, each year as I go along, that some of them, most of them, I would dare say all of them, have had similar challenges in their lives, like adversity, a spouse that doesn't support your entrepreneurial dream, somebody has a divorce, somebody loses there's a death in the family, maybe you lose a child, God forbid. I just know people that go through incredible adversity. And to those people, because of what I went through in my own way, you don't compare yourself to others, but I can talk to them and I can relate to them and I can tell them how hard you need to kind of push through this. And the second thing, which is really important, is what can we learn from this that you can share with others? I truly believe, so I'm going to go up a little bit in life, faith, and not off of business. I truly believe we go through things in our life so that we can experience them, so we can be a light, and that we can help other people. My sister-in-law, Natalia Voles, who I think is awesome, I love her, she started a business called PassingThroughGrief.com. She lost her husband, I think it was 7 or 8 years ago, I forget the exact date, sorry, but she had a horrible time with grief, and she did finally get through that. She kind of passed through her grief, and she learned how to be a coach, and I helped her start a business called Passing Through Grief. And now today, based on what she went through, she has turned all that adversity into a business. Now, yes, it's a business, it makes money, but she's also making a real difference in the lives of others. And I think that's just so amazing. So what I want to encourage you to do is, if you can find out what you're really called to do, and I don't mean, hey, I'm called to be a bricklayer, a carpet layer, I'm an internet marketer, I'm a newsletter guy, or I'm a printer, I'm a silk screen, I do teach, whatever it is you're meant to do. How can you take that business and turn it from an ordinary or an average business into an extraordinary business that then allows you to touch lives? And because of all the experience and adversity and hardship that you've gone through on your own, how can you use that to really make an impact? So there's the financial reward, but then there's also the reward that you're going to get in your heart, and probably later on in another life. So that's really when it came all home for me, is all that adversity that I went through. And there's other things that I didn't share, but all that adversity, while it sucked and I hated it and I just wanted it to end, every day I wanted to have it, wake up and have it be gone, that has made me not only a better person today, but it has made me a better coach, which is my primary thing that I'm doing today. And I think God rewards me because I don't lose sight of the fact that while I make a very nice living as a coach, I'm helping other people grow more successful businesses, and that lets them live their dream. And if they're doing their thing, maybe they're touching other people. So it's kind of this ripple effect. So that's when you know you have a real magical business, and that's when you know you're using your gifts, your talents, your skills, and your experiences, your challenges along the way. So while I'll feel like I'll start to wrap up here. So while happy talk and positive affirmations, while New Year's resolutions are all good, I think at the end of the day, because I've been coaching now for 8 years, I believe, and I see some of the same people post the same things every year, and they're no further along, and not passing any judgment. Maybe that's what they want to do, but if you want to take your business to the next level, you've really got to dial in and figure out, what can I learn from the adversities? How can I overcome the current challenges? Whether it's financial, how can I step over that and grow a business that will just let me pay down the debt? How can I use what my gifts are to make a difference in the lives of other people? Because that's when the real magic sauce happens. That's what it's all about, and that's what you really, really need to stay focused on. So as far as adversity or challenge, it sucks, it blows when you're going through it, but you're going to learn something from it. You should learn something from it, and maybe, just maybe, there's a lesson and a reason you went through it that can benefit others, and if you can find a business around that, that would be good too. Okay, you know what? I got a good feeling. I did what I was supposed to do this morning. God really wanted me to come on and share this about adversity and challenge, because there's no shortage of it, but you can learn from it. I hope something that I said resonated with you this morning. I know I went kind of long. If I can help you with your business, there's so many ways. First of all, inexpensive ways. You can read my books. You can watch my videos. You can join the Dream Biz group. It's a free Facebook group that I have. And learn from me that way. If you want to join my coaching program, there's opportunities there. There's different levels that you can gain knowledge and just be part of this community. If you really want to go pedal to the metal and just reach out to me and say, how do I become one of your clients? And we can talk about that. This is not a sales video, but if you are inspired to make 2018 your best year, and really, I mean, make it your best year, because you've really moved the ball forward in a big, big way with your business, then reach out to me and we can have a conversation. Is there anything else I want to share? No, I think that's about it. Thank you so much. Let me see. Wow, we still got a lot of people. As long as I've been on, we still got a pretty good sized audience. Thanks for watching, everybody. And whatever you're going to do today, just every day's a good day. Every day you wake up and put your feet on the floor is a gift and a blessing. So make the most out of this day, because other people don't get that. All right? Peace. And this is Jim Palmer, the newsletter guru. No, God, that's an old one. Oh my God. See, I went way back in memory. This is Jim Palmer, the Dream Business Coach. You take good care, everybody. So long.